The next 3 weeks, from July 20th to August 7th, start with the most glaring mystery currently unfolding, the arrival of Hudson. The general consensus seems to be that he is in town searching for Phoebe or Delilah, but I am not buying that for a single second. If you look closely at his calculated moves, it looks like his true target is actually Valentine. Hudson carries himself with the quiet confidence of a man who knows where the real power lies, and his sudden appearance right when the agency drama is peaking cannot be a mere coincidence. I suspect Hudson holds a deeply buried secret, one that ties directly to that infamous black box. Could it be that Hudson is not here to destroy Valentine, but rather to serve as an unexpected, highly dangerous ally? This implies that the black box does not even belong to Brennan. I genuinely believe Brennan is running a massive bluff, manipulating everyone into thinking he is the master of that intelligence. In reality, that box likely contains top-secret files regarding Cassius, Nathan, or a heavily redacted Black Ops program that has been buried for decades. Because of the shattered trust, Carly is placed in an impossible position. She will be forced to continue keeping secrets from Valentine, not out of any loyalty to Brennan, but to protect Jason from a truth that is far more lethal than anyone realizes. Moving over to the police department, we are supposed to believe that Anna is simply returning to her role as chief, ready to restore order. Ladies, do not let this saintly facade fool you. If you ask me, her return to the desk is nothing more than a brilliant cover for a deeply covert mission. Anna is a spy at heart, and the psychological motive behind her sudden desire for administrative duties screams of an ulterior motive. I highly doubt she is actually firing Dante. Instead, it looks like she is publicly demoting him to secretly assign him an off-the-books operation that requires absolute deniability. Dante is the only person she can truly trust with this level of deception. Furthermore, Chase and his anticipated promotion are likely being delayed for a very specific reason. Could it be that Anna is using this probationary period to test the loyalty of everyone in the precinct, desperately trying to root out a mole hidden within their ranks? She is setting a trap, and she needs to see who takes the bait. Now, let us talk about the hospital and the fiery dynamic between Tristan and Britt. They have been at each other's throats since day one, but I am convinced this bitter rivalry is just a stepping stone. It looks like their endless bickering is about to be violently interrupted when they realize they are both being monitored by a shadowy, unseen force. I predict that Tristan, with his fresh perspective and sharp instincts, will be the first to uncover a massive conspiracy brewing within the very walls of the hospital. This implies that their hostility will evaporate when they are abducted or coerced into treating a highly classified, secret patient in a remote, undisclosed location. And who could this mystery patient be? My speculative mind immediately goes to Cassius, who is supposedly dead, or perhaps even someone like Sam, miraculously clinging to life in the shadows. The sheer terror of their situation will force Britt and Tristan to rely entirely on each other, forging an unbreakable bond born out of shared trauma and shattered trust in the medical establishment. Speaking of trauma, Jason and his return from his father-son getaway with Danny is not going to be the peaceful readjustment he is hoping for. Jason possesses legendary instincts, and it will not take him long to realize that his family is being watched. The psychological motive here is to push Jason to his absolute limit by threatening the one thing he values above all else, his son. I suspect that Danny, being the curious teenager he is, will accidentally stumble upon a clandestine meeting or catch a glimpse of a character everyone assumes is 6 feet under. This terrifying discovery will shatter Jason's dreams of a quiet life, pulling him violently back into the dangerous underworld he just tried to escape. Jason will realize that the only way to protect Danny is to go on the offensive, leading to a calculated move that will shock everyone who thought he had finally gone soft. Then we have the blossoming romance between Brennan and Nina. I know many fans are swooning over their stolen kisses, but if you ask me, you are watching a masterclass in manipulation. I do not believe for a second that Brennan's feelings are genuine. It looks like he is deliberately seducing Nina because she unknowingly holds the key needed to unlock the true secrets of the black box. Brennan is a predator, and his psychological motive is purely transactional. Every touch, every whispered promise, is a calculated move to lower Nina's defenses. Once he gets what he wants, the shattered trust will leave Nina absolutely devastated, realizing she was nothing more than a pawn in a much larger, global chess game. The situation with Drew and Willow is perhaps the most misunderstood storyline currently playing out. Everyone assumes Willow is plotting to eliminate Drew to protect her saintly image. However, I am predicting a massive twist. Drew will be the one to approach Willow, begging her to help him orchestrate his own disappearance. Could it be that Drew realizes the only way to expose the puppet master controlling his life is to fake his own death? This implies that their tense interactions are actually the groundwork for a highly dangerous alliance, but no perfect plan survives contact with reality, and that is where Scout comes in. I believe the newly aged up Scout will inadvertently stumble upon their scheme, discovering the truth and completely blowing their cover. Her teenage rebellion will be the unpredictable variable that causes unforeseen fallout, putting both Drew and Willow in legitimate mortal danger. Over in another corner of town, the narrative suggests Portia is softening her stance on Curtis and his legal troubles simply because she saw him holding their newborn. Ladies, Portia is a woman of science and logic. She does not pivot that easily. I suspect new, irrefutable evidence is about to surface, proving Curtis is not entirely innocent, but also not the mastermind behind the chaos. It looks like Isaiah is the one holding this critical missing puzzle piece. His involvement will force both Portia and Jordan to completely reevaluate their understanding of the case. Furthermore, the return of Marshall and Stella is highly suspicious. I do not believe they are back just to coo over a baby. If you ask me, they are carrying a dark, explosive secret from the past. This secret has the power to shift the blame entirely, ensuring that another, currently unsuspected character pays the ultimate price. The psychological motive for their return is rooted in protecting their legacy at all costs. Let us not forget the younger generation. Quinn and his return to make amends with Kai seems far too convenient. I am willing to bet that Quinn is bringing a massive, life-altering offer related to the sports or entertainment industry. This implies that Kai will be forced to make an agonizing choice between his skyrocketing career and his developing feelings for Trina. At the same time, Trina is about to be swept up in a monumental project of her own, one that will demand her absolute focus. The unforeseen fallout of these dual opportunities is that their romance will be pushed to the back burner. They are both standing at a crossroads, and it looks like ambition might just win out over love, leaving a trail of shattered trust and what-ifs in its wake. Finally, we must address the absolute powder keg that is deception. The surface narrative wants us to believe that Serena has arrived as Lucy's loyal knight in shining armor, ready to battle Brooklyn and Tracy. But if you ask me, Serena has a massive ulterior motive. I do not believe she gives a single damn about Lucy's legacy. It looks like Serena is acting on behalf of a shadowy corporate backer, or perhaps she intends to seize total control of deception for herself. Lucy is so blinded by her desperation to win that she does not realize she is being used as a pawn. By the time Lucy figures out that her supposed ally is actually a Trojan horse, it will be too late. The shattered trust within the boardroom will redefine the entire corporate landscape, proving that Serena is the true mastermind holding all the winning cards. When we take a step back and look at this massive, tangled web, we are essentially looking at two distinct, branching paths for the future of our favorite characters. Let us break this down into two distinct possibilities. In scenario A, the characters attempt to outsmart the shadowy forces pulling their strings. Hudson successfully aligns with Valentine, using the true contents of the black box to dismantle Brennan's manipulative hold over the town. Anna's covert operation with Dante yields results, exposing the mole before they can strike. Tristan and Britt manage to save their secret patient, blowing the lid off the hospital conspiracy, while Jason preemptively neutralizes the threat to Danny. In this scenario, the calculated move of our heroes pays off, but the psychological toll is immense. The shattered trust between couples like Nina and Brennan leaves permanent scars. However, scenario B presents a much darker, far more tragic outcome. Could it be that the villains are simply too far ahead? In this version of events, Brennan successfully extracts the cipher from a devastated Nina, gaining ultimate control. Serena ruthlessly executes her hostile takeover, leaving Lucy with absolutely nothing. Scout's interference in Drew and Willow's fake death plot results in a real, fatal tragedy, and Jason is drawn into a bloody conflict that endangers Danny even more. This implies that the unforeseen fallout of their secrets will consume them all, proving that no one ever truly escapes their past. If you ask me, the writers are setting the stage for a paradigm shift that will fundamentally alter the DNA of this show. The next 3 weeks are not just about resolving minor squabbles. They are the prologue to a massive, interconnected saga where the Black Box, Hudson, Serena, and the hospital conspiracy all collide. While I cannot say for certain who will emerge victorious, I can confidently predict that the landscape will be unrecognizable by the end of the summer. The ultimate question remains: when the dust settles and the ulterior motive of every player is finally dragged into the light, who will be left standing in the wreckage of their own shattered trust? We will just have to keep watching, analyzing every calculated move to find out.